Hey guys, I know it's been a while since the last time I made a tier list video. The last one I made was in July of 2018, so it's been like a year and a half. And if you guys were to guess how many characters we've added since then to the game, go ahead, guess. I'll let you guys take like a random guess. Three. We've only added three new characters to the game since July of 2018. So, for anyone wondering, I see questions in the comments of people asking if there's ever going to be new characters added to the game or when there's going to be a new character added. My answer to you is I have no idea. It's been almost 2 years and we've only gotten three new characters, and they haven't really been new. They've just been reskinned, different colors, same animations, different abilities, sure, but relatively, carbon copy of an existing character. So something to keep in mind. I know Kabam was also doing updates to characters, to bots. Earlier this year, they started upgrading, buffing some characters that weren't really played that much. And that has honestly stopped. I think the last bot update that they did was back in August. It was Soundwave and Grimlock. So it's been like 3 months now that we haven't had a bot get an update. I thought for sure the next one was going to be like Revenge of the Fallen Megatron, who I think desperately needed one. So I don't know if they're working on that. Just for now, it's just been, a time slide every 2 weeks. Essentially just new text on the screen. So yeah, that's kind of been the outlook, the entire summary of this game in 2020. It's just been that. I know Necrotronus got added. That was new. I think we also got Act 4, but I mean, it hasn't been anything else, it's just been that. So I don't know what 2021 is going to bring. So hopefully it's something good. Maybe we'll get an announcement here in the next couple of weeks, but we will find out. So if there is an update or an announcement, I will let you guys know. But for now, let's go ahead and talk about this 2020 tier list, perhaps the final tier list in this game that I will ever make. So just disclaimer, this is my own personal tier list, how I feel about certain characters. I know some of them I never fully ranked up, so I haven't really experienced playing with them, but just I'm going to base a lot of this as well on their abilities and synergies. So just something to keep in mind. Again, the crown just means it's highly recommended on my part, and this is something else to keep in mind. Every character in this game is usable. If you like Hound, rank him up. You can do really well with him. He's okay. He's good. Nemesis Prime. Dinobot is one that I never really played with too much, but just looking at him on paper, armor break, special 1, decent special 2 with just, crit chance. And then his special 3, it's inconsistent with the healing, and I don't think the healing is that much, but it's there. But obviously, from the tactician side, Dinobot is not one that I would use unless you're using like Swordmaster's synergy, something like that, or Beast Wars. That would also, he'd be good in that team, but just by himself, he's not really that good. But again, every bot is usable in the game, so we're gonna cover all the classes. We'll go through it really quickly. Some of them I will talk a little bit more. Some of them I'll briefly, just mention. There is one character though that is honestly god tier in this game. I'm just gonna say this right now. Megatronus. There is no denial. We need to add more crowns to this guy. How many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. That looks a lot better. Honestly, this character is the best character in the game. We'll cover him in a little bit. He honestly probably deserves his own whole entire columns. Honestly, he's just the best character in the game, and we'll cover him in a little bit. But up first, we have the tacticians. Currently, there's 8 of them in the game. Also, I'm not going to cover the Sharkticons, not even the S1000, S2000, whatever it was. I don't even remember. Just they're Sharkticon. It's just a Sharkticon, whatever, But at first we have G1 Optimus Prime, best character from the tactician side. Him alongside with Megatron, they're just the best characters from the tactician side. Overall in the game too, they're honestly really, really good. If you don't have a Megatronus, either one of these guys or both of them, having both of them would also be really good. They can carry you. They can carry you through difficult content in the game. All of Legends of Cybertron, 1, 2, and 3. You can't go wrong with either one of these guys. Optimus Prime, special 3 armor break, special 2 armor break, special 1 armor break. Crits will inflict a bleed. Increased attack buffs with a heavy. Just overall a really good character with really good synergies as well for the rest of his Autobots. Megatron, G1 Megatron, armor break, special 1, special 2, attack debuff, and special 3 is a shock debuff if you land a heavy while the debuff is active on the enemy and your heavy attack is charged, you will fuse that debuff, and essentially it's a permanent debuff on the enemy. And he can also steal buffs if he's awakened, so you can steal damage buffs, I think heal buffs as well, armor buffs, take him off the enemy, essentially nullify. You just copy it over to your character, so really good for that. Bumblebee is another one that I've really liked, and I probably will never get up to rank 5, but he's honestly, he's really good. Get a bunch of heavies. He's a scaling character. Heavy the opponent, get a bunch of attack buffs. Special 1 armor break, special 3 I believe armor breaks as well. I don't remember though. I'm sorry guys. I'm a little rusty with some of the bots that I don't play with too much. But I definitely love his special 2 animation. I think it's one of the best, most fluid animations in the game. So honestly, I'm a really big fan of Tactician Bumblebee. Cyclonus, Motor Master counter, Dark Field, nullify buffs on the enemy. Just overall really good, solid character. Starscream is another one that's as well really good. His null rays, they do damage, nullify buffs, special 2 can do some crazy damage with if you get like double armor break and some crits, this guy can do damage. But if you're fighting characters that don't have any buffs, obviously he's not going to be that good since he can't nullify anything, but you can just spam special 2s, get a bunch of damage off. Dinobot, like I said earlier, just the character by himself, not really that good. Other tacticians are better than him. If you do have him with Swordmaster synergy, he's pretty good. Same thing with the Beast Swords. He'd benefit a lot from either one of those synergies. Special 1 armor break, special 2 I believe it's a crit chance boost, and then special 3 has a chance to heal. Ultra Magnus, he did get a buff this year. His special 1 armor break, special 2 armor break, special 3 armor breaks as well. Basically an armor breaking character that can deal with someone like Grinder really well. He's also really tanky, gets a bunch of resistances, and his heavies, I believe they now have a chance to apply burn, so it's a pretty big boost for him. Nemesis Prime is essentially the same thing as Optimus Prime, and kind of like Megatron, where he can copy a melee buff from the enemy, and he can also nullify. He cannot armor break. That's something to keep in mind. He cannot armor break. He can nullify melee buffs, attack buffs. I forgot if it's melee or attack buffs. Definitely armor buffs. He can nullify those. This guy is a one-hit wonder. He can essentially take out an entire lane that has like a melee boost buff or node on it. Mod, sorry. And he's really good at also killing Primal in Revenge of the King, Legends of Cybertron 2. He's really good for that one too. I've seen videos of somebody using like their Nemesis Prime that's pretty beefed up and essentially killing that Primal in like less than like 2 minutes, less than a minute. So he's really good for certain bots, certain lanes. Demo class team. Let's see. Demo class characters. We have Megatronus, obviously, without question, the best bot in the game, in my opinion. I don't know what Kabam was doing when they introduced him. He's super broken, super strong, always generating power. Use a special 1 right off the bat. Why? Because then the next time you get a special 1, you will get the Relic of Fury, which amplifies your special 1, lets you power steal, essentially. You literally power steal, which is crazy. You don't power drain, you power steal. And it also has a chance to armor break, or you let your power go up to a special 2, get that Relic of Perseverance, and then you use a special 2, you do damage, and then you steal health from the opponent. So it does even more damage, and it heals you, which is nuts. Special 3s, I wouldn't recommend going for unless, for some reason you can't use a special 2 in time, then you're going to have to use a special 3. Relic of Obedience, his signature, prevents any buffs from applying on the enemy, which is huge. It's just he's just so insanely strong, man. He's so insanely powerful. I'm gonna be missing some stuff on some characters, but just a general idea I think is pretty good for you guys. And then yeah, up next we have Ironhide. Ironhide, very bursty character. Heavy cheeses. I love doing those with him. Just heavy spam the entire game. You do need him awakened though for him to do a bunch of damage with his what is it called? I'll tear you apart. I love it when that triggers. He does a ton of damage with his special 2, special 3. They can one-shot just about any character that isn't in Legends of Cybertron because they have a bunch of health. But anyone else, this guy can basically one-shot with like a special 2 or special 3. If the stars align, he gets a crit damage buff followed by a signature activation. So really good character there. Galvatron, another one, very bursty character. You can essentially just get 30 charges, use a special 2, special 3, and just see the enemy's health melt. As well, he has really good synergy with Cyclonus, the Hand of Chaos synergy, one that's amazing. Basically, all Decepticons gain special damage, and I believe crit damage as well. Megatron, Revenge of the Fallen, one that has definitely... He was really good when he came out. He's still good with his Impair charges. Get 20 of them, land a heavy, do a bunch of damage, but that's essentially it for him. I wouldn't exactly recommend him. He's good, he's usable like I said, but there's other demo class characters that are better than him in my opinion. Mixmaster, because he's a meme character, I gave him a crown, but this guy can output a lot of damage as well. If you get a bunch of buffs, wait a little bit, get those buffs stacking, then launch like a special. Make sure you get a debuff first on the enemy, get an acid debuff with like a ranged, then followed up with like a special 2 or special 3, and it is going to do a lot of damage. He's actually pretty I don't know, he's like a dark horse. You can definitely do crazy amounts of damage with him. Waspinator, special 3 animation, just absolutely amazing. I think Kabam did a really good job with that one. But he's a bot that can definitely do a bunch of damage too. So special 2 does a lot. Get a bunch of ranged shots first, get those resistances down, then use a special 2, special 3, and yeah, this guy can melt characters as well. Ramjet, one that I haven't had the chance of playing with too much, but just on paper, his damage output isn't as high as the rest of the demo class characters, so just for that reason, I would stay away from ranking him up. Scouts, Prowl, honestly, in my opinion, best scout character in the game. All of the scouts are really good. All of the scouts can do damage. Prowl, just his utility, dash back, get those melee buffs going, get a bunch of power gain. And yeah, basically you can power control the fight with a bunch of special ones, and he does a ton of damage. He's just amazing. Best character, best scout in my opinion in the game. Followed by Windblade and Jazz. Windblade, just crit machine, bleed goddess, and really not much else to say. A special one, I believe it can, I forget what it's called, but I know if the enemy is power gaining, you can use a special one, and she essentially does extra damage, and she negates like the power gain. Jazz, scaling, amazing scaling character. If you need a character that will carry you through Legends of Cybertron, you're going to want Jazz paired up with Optimus for the, I forgot what it's called. It's not Lieutenants, or is it called Lieutenants? Basically, every time the enemy uses a special and Jazz like avoids it, you don't get hit by it. He starts gaining, is it attack buffs? I believe it is attack buffs. And then he also starts critting as well like crazy. So he's a really solid character. Plus his heavy has that taunt built into it, where if you land the heavy, it makes the enemies more likely to use a special. So pretty good character there. Scout B, really good. Always power gaining if you're close to the opponent. Special 1 can do some pretty good damage. Special 2, power lock, and shield breaker. The only character in the game that can shield break. So pretty good at taking down Soundwave. Pretty good at taking down Rhinox and Wheeljack. Yeah. Cheetor, another really good scout. Heal block is amazing. I know last month a lot of players had some issues with that Scorponok that was healing a ton. Cheater was honestly your best bet. You can easily rotate into his special one every 2 combos, I believe, every 2 5-hit combos, because he gains like a little bit of extra power if you finish your combo with like a light or a medium attack. So really good character at that. And up next we have Barricade. Barricade is a solid character. He can the backfires do a lot of damage, and that's mainly where he shines. Backfire damage is huge. Special 2 can also power steal, so it's really good for him. Kickback, he's still a raid god. I know I took off like the raid god over here on this column, but he's still extremely good. His buff gave him a huge boost to like his debuff damage. He can do with shocks, he can do with bleeds from the special 2. Overall, really solid character, but I feel like the rest of the characters here outshine him. Same thing with Sideswipe, he got a boost. He can do damage if you know how to play him well. If you sidestep an incoming opponent, you get like a crit damage buff, and he can do a lot of damage, so he's not one to sleep on either. But personally, I would rather have Prowl, Jazz, or Windblade than Sideswipe. Up next, we have the Brawlers. Thundercracker, best character in the game for the Brawler team by far. Nullify God. You don't need Grimlock anymore. Once Thundercracker was introduced, you use a heavy, nullify everything. As you start hitting the opponent, you get melee buffs. You can start doing a whole ton of damage. Up next, we have Optimus Primal, who is absolutely amazing with his Beast Wars synergy. Gives that huge boost to all the Beast Wars characters. If they use a heavy, they essentially nullify any debuffs. Not only that, this guy also has crit armor. Basically, while he has a crit armor buff active on himself, he can never get hit with a crit, which is huge. Put him up against any scouts and you're pretty good. Unless you use a heavy, then you get rid of your crit armor buff. Gotta kind of play a little safe, but aside from that, he's really good. I'm gonna give him an extra crown just because, not 5, but we're gonna give him an extra 2 crowns for that. MV1, I'm gonna give him an extra crown, just because amazing character. He's still really solid. He's been in the game from day 1. And just really good with his signature, do a ton of damage. I know the signature though, it only lasts a couple seconds, but in those seconds, if you have a special 1, and obviously you're going to be low on HP, special 1 can do some nasty amounts of damage. And I believe he heals as well. If he has like a bleed active on himself, he will heal with his melee hits on the enemy. And then up next we have Tantrum. Tantrum is one that's honestly, he's really good. He's solid. He can do some crazy amounts of damage. Thank you everyone, by the way, in the last video that told me that he did, I believe it was 36,000 damage. So this guy can pump out damage. So I'm gonna give him a crown. Tantrum, his playstyle is just, you have to play aggressive, and you also kind of have to play a little bit safe if you want to conserve your buffs, your attack buffs, your melee buffs. So most often than not, you're gonna get hit, you're gonna eat some block damage because you don't want to dash back and get rid of him. While he's unstoppable, of course, you can do just about anything, but it's kind of hard to bait out specials if you're using Tantrum, which kind of leads to you getting hit or eating, block damage, of course. So other than that, absolute monster when it comes to damage. Motormaster, another really good character. Honestly, I haven't played with him in a really long time, but he's still good, unstoppable on his dashes, which is pretty huge. And as I believe in increments of 20% HP, as he loses HP, he gets melee buffs, which they're very strong, and he can do a whole ton of damage with his special 2. And then special 3, I wish Kabam never added the recoil, where he like hits himself, he injures him. He deals damage to himself if you use a special 3, but it applies some debuffs on the enemy, which is okay, but I don't think the trade-off in losing some of your HP is worth it. So, I mean, he's still a decent character. He's still really fun to play. Grimlock, he's a purifying character, but ever since Thundercracker got introduced, I don't think the buff as well to Grimlock helped him. He's kind of in the same boat as Tantrum. Is once you start getting melee buffs for Grimlock, you kind of want to conserve them, and if the enemy isn't using a special, if they're approaching a special 3, with Grimlock, you're basically just gonna time out your buffs and you're gonna have to start over from the beginning. So yeah, ever since Thundercracker was introduced, Grimlock essentially, in my opinion, he's replaced. He's been replaced. So he's still good if you don't have someone that can purify, but yeah, there's better choices basically. But he can do damage. Barney Slam, special 2, special 3, Nom Nom, Chomp Chomp. But yeah, that's about it for Grimlock. Grinder, he's good. He's okay. I wouldn't exactly, prioritize him over any characters. That's about it for Grinder though. Special 2 does some decent damage. Let's see the techs. Okay, so the techs are interesting. They honestly, all of them are good. They all play their roles really, really well. Wheeljack is amazing. Add that nano repair for him, and essentially you're going to be safe. I believe it's like 75% HP. He gets his shield where he doesn't take any damage, and he can also heal. He can power drain, do shock. I believe I haven't played with him too much. It's been a while. It's been a very, very long time. But he's really good. He's really, really good. Ratchet is one that as well lacks in damage, but his healing, once he gets below 50% HP, he can heal. He can power gain as well if he uses a heavy. Special 2 heals a bit. If his signature, if he gets hit with like a big a big hit, he can essentially repair all the damage. Special 3 does some good damage, but the way to use this guy is mainly with like ranged hits. Apply those shocks, get a stun off, and you can basically stun lock the opponent if you get really lucky. So he's pretty good there. Shockwave does amazing damage. He has some really good synergies as well. Special 1, 3 shock charges, I believe they're shock charges. Does shock damage. Special 2 can heal block, and as well armor nullifies or ignores all armor. I believe it's like 100% armor penetration, and his special 3 heal blocks as well, I believe. I'm sorry guys, I'm a little rusty again. I'm blanking out on some of these characters, but he's really good. So I definitely prioritize ranking him up. Rhinox, he's good in the Beast Wars team, but I don't really play with him too much. Special 2 can do a bunch of damage. His shields are good at negating damage, so he doesn't take full damage from like an Ironhide. Basically caps the damage. His heavy can power lock. Yes, it can power lock. Special 2, like I said, does a ton of damage. Same thing with the special 3. Mirage, scaling character. If you don't have Jazz, Mirage is one that you are gonna probably want to use if you don't have Jazz or Optimus and you're looking for someone that can carry you in like Legends of Cybertron. Mirage is honestly really good. Use a special 3, start avoiding attacks, get a bunch of attack buffs going, and yeah, essentially special 1, it can power burn. Special 2 can attack debuff. So overall, good utility on him with some pretty good scaling damage. Blaster, same thing, another good character. Interference, I think, works pretty good. His signature though, it does require you to block, so block ranged hits so he can heal, but there's a chance that he doesn't heal, so you don't really want to be healing. You don't really want to be eating damage in exchange for a chance at healing, you know what I mean? So Blaster there, his signature not really that good, but he does get those amp charges which amplify the damage on his special 2 and his special 3, so pretty good damage out of Blaster. Soundwave, amazing. I love Soundwave. Use a heavy, get enough power in like a couple seconds, use a special 2, rinse and repeat, and just overall really good character. Jetfire, Shield Masters, amazing, just beyond amazing. He can do a ton of damage, and once he drops below 70% HP, 80%, 75 HP, one of those basically just hold block at a distance, and he uses his charges to repair, so he can heal. He can do a ton of shock damage as well, so honestly really, really solid character. And finally guys, the warrior tier list. Here we have Drift. I think he will remain the warrior king, warrior god for the foreseeable future. Just absolutely amazing character with his bleeds, his crits, and he can also prevent evasion. Once he gets, I believe, above a 15 hit combo, or you can use a heavy right away and get that bonus. So really solid character. Necrotronus introduced. I don't know if his evade, negating evade or evasion is even working. What I do like about him though is the bleed damage that he does, as well as I guess what else does he do? He also, if the enemy has more power than him, they basically gain almost no power until he catches up to them. So he's really good there. Just overall, he's really solid, honestly. He's really good. Bone Crusher, really good bleed damage, but aside from that, not much else. I know his signature, if the enemy does have bleed, he does extra damage. So pretty good on that part. He does extra damage, he gains extra power, and in turn, if the enemy is bleeding, they get reduced attack and reduced power, I believe. So he's good there. Honestly, we'll give him a crown. He's still okay. Scorponok. Why do I have one crown on this man? What's wrong with me? Let's go ahead and give him an extra 2 crowns. Amazing character. The whole daze mechanic I think is amazing. Daze an enemy, special one. Their ranged specials will never hit you as long as they're ranged. So really good counter there. Special 2, special 3. His special 2 applies the backfire damage, and then his special 3 does like a longer daze, I believe. So yeah, and as long as you have those venom charges on yourself, if you are hit, he will heal some of the damage. So pretty good, but the main thing about Scorponok is the backfire damage, which you can get them super quickly. Every power bar that you gain, you get 1 venom charge. Stack up to 10 whenever you feel like it. Use a heavy or a special 2, and then if the enemy uses a special, they just eat a ton of damage. It's insane. He's really good. RC, another character that she got a buff in the very beginning, close to the beginning of the game. She used to be back in beta pretty good, pretty broken, I believe. I don't remember if she was broken or not. I know Bludgeon was broken in the beginning of the game, but RC with her buff now, she's really good with the headshots, a ton of damage. Overall, really solid character if you're looking for someone that can bleed and apply a ton of bleeds from a distance. If that's your playstyle, RC is your girl. And up next we have Hot Rod. Prevents a ton of evasion, has a good crit chance, and does some pretty solid crit damage as well, so we'll give him one of these. Bludgeon. What do we have to say about Bludgeon? His bleeds do a ton of damage. He's very tanky with an armor buff, and the only reason I'm not a big fan of Bludgeon is his signature requires you to miss a hit, and then it gives you a crit damage buff. So he's good with sword masters, but timing the damage for him, it's kind of awkward. It's weird for me. I know I've seen some players get over 100,000 damage with Bludgeon. How they calculate it, how they get it to work, I have no idea. But I just feel like it's very situational to do a ton of damage with him. But overall, he's still usable. He's still solid. Hound, didn't get a chance to play with him ever since his buff, but I still don't like him. I still think he's worthless. I still think he sucks. But you definitely need a high signature with Hound if you want to be able to do damage with his ballerina thing, where you dodge a ranged hit right before it hits you. You get a ranged damage boost, and then it amplifies the damage on his ranged attacks and specials. But still not my favorite at all. When he came out, he was absolutely garbage. And yeah, that is gonna be it, guys, for the tier list. This is just again my own opinion. If you guys want to base something, if you guys want to base a decision off of this, I think this tier list is okay. I mean, it's not, I know some people will agree for sure, on maybe this. I know a lot of the scouts are really good. Same thing with the techs. I think the Brawler, this tier list here is debatable. Some of you might prefer Primal over Thundercracker. I know Thundercracker is hard to get, but he's really good. Warrior, I think a lot of people really do like Drift, so I think I did pretty good here. Scorponok as well is really good. Necrotronus is good. But yeah, that is gonna be it, guys, for this tier list. Hopefully this helps some of you guys make some decisions. Hopefully this helps I don't know, anyone that was wondering, you know, what they should level up or rank up or focus on. But yeah, that is gonna be it, guys. Final tier list of 2020, possibly forever for this game. Hopefully this is probably gonna stay the same for all of 2021 unless something changes with the game. So maybe we'll get some news, maybe we won't. Like I said, here on December 30th we should get an announcement for either the next time slide or the future of the game. So yeah, that is it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good one, have a good weekend, and I will catch you all in the next one.